You are listening to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast,
where you will learn how to conquer the internet one video at a time.
Now, here's your host, Dusty Porter.
Hello and welcome to the third ever episode of the sporadic YouTube Creators Hub podcast. You never know when we're going to post, but when we do, it is golden. Today, I'm very excited about the show. I got a friend of mine, a previous co-worker, fellow Gainesvillian, and a awesome person, and that is Mr. David Smith. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm glad I was able to get you on to do another show because I was tired of waiting for it to download, so I just made it happen.
He kept telling me he was pulling down there on the iPhone and hoping to refresh to a new YouTube Creators Hub podcast to no avail. So we're going to take care of that today, David. And David is a fairly new YouTuber, fairly new dad, actually.
Yeah.
So we'll probably talk about that a little bit because I am actually expecting myself here coming in the next year, and so we're both new at that as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about YouTube, going to talk a little bit about what video is going to do, hopefully in our kids' lives and our lives, and just kind of what we're going to do on YouTube. So we're going to jump right into it. David, is there anything you want to say before we get started?
Other than I'm just excited to, I'm excited to be on the show, obviously, but as like you said, a new dad and a new into the YouTube world, I'm excited to get the expertise of somebody like yourself there, Mr. Technology Guru.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So we're going to start the show off. I want to start the show off by saying I have learned a lot since the last episode has been released. A lot has happened via my YouTube channel, and I'm not going to talk about it in detail because I don't want to give the bad guys, per se, any more attention than they deserve because they don't deserve any. But I have learned a lot about the community guidelines of YouTube, have learned a lot about the copyright rules and laws and regulations. So in a future episode, I will definitely be covering that. So definitely stay tuned for that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into these questions, and this is going to be a little different. I'm going to form it a little differently than normal, as David is a little newer to YouTube, but he knows the deal. He's been on it long enough to answer these questions. So we're going to jump into it. So David, how did you get started on YouTube? What was your goal, and how did you get started?
Well, I watched a little video called "Charlie Bit My Finger." I don't know if you've seen it before.
Yeah, it's pretty viral. Yeah,
but I said, you know what? I can be as big as Charlie Bit My Finger. So I was like, you know what? I'll start making my own videos.
That's
I
fantastic.
made my video, and as I started to look, I realized not quite as easy as I thought it was. It's easy to get to the point to where you upload a video, but there's a lot that goes into it. So, but as I have my kid, clearly I wanted to post more videos as far as that, and it's kind of a way to document his life as he grows. I can always go back. YouTube isn't going anywhere. It will not in no time soon, anyway. So, it's a way to go back and kind of look over his life and also share it with other people through friends and whatnot, and they can kind of see what's going on. So, and as well as my podcast, we have a podcast called Inappropriate Commentary that we're wanting to get started up, and or we have started up actually, but we want to grow, and YouTube is one of the ways, basically, to make anything grow, whether it's a business, podcast, or just, you can make your family grow too, possibly. So,
well,
but yeah, it's just just something I was interested in, and I always wanted to be a part of, and finally getting around to actually making that happen.
That's fantastic. That's a great answer. And David, as he mentioned there briefly, they do have a podcast, him and another one of my buddies that I used to work with as well, Don Treese, and it's called Inappropriate Commentary, and we'll give it its due at the end of the show. We'll plug it shamelessly. But the YouTube channel is a fantastic way to grow a podcast, to grow a business, and I think with just a few tweaks with David's channel and a little more consistency, he can see huge growth with his podcast as well as just people watching his videos in general. So I'll put the link down for the podcast and everything else in the description when the show is over. So let's go ahead and move on to question number 2. So as far as that goes, I know you haven't been on YouTube for a long time, David, but how have you seen it impact your business per se, your podcast, or just anything else? How has YouTube helped you to further what you're trying to do?
Well, like I said, anybody can actually go on and start up a YouTube post or a YouTube page, and that's the beautiful thing about it, is that anybody can. However, in some ways it does legitimize your business, or in this case your podcast, because people think that it's hard to do, and then they look and they're like, man, they got a YouTube page. and you can it's a better way to express what you're trying to accomplish, be it just growing your podcast or your business. Video does a lot, and is a better way of explaining it than just somebody reading it. Because a lot of times people will be more apt to watch a little video on things as they will to read it, because they feel like reading for some reason is so outdated, which is crazy. But it's video is an easy way, and who doesn't love watching videos? Who doesn't love watching their friends and getting their expressions? I've had numerous people already that have seen me on things I post on Facebook with my YouTube and everything, and it's just they say how cool it is to be able to see or have a voice and to see somebody behind all the posts and whatnot. Because there's people that you haven't connected with in years, but to actually see them and hear them talking, it adds a different element to it. So I feel like it helps out in that way.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic answer. I think a lot of people are probably scared to put themselves out there. They're even scared to do like audio stuff like what we're doing right now, but it's an even deeper dive to go out and put your face on the screen, to put your face in a video, and everybody's might be thinking, what are they going to think of me? I'm putting my face out here in the video. So it does take a lot to put yourself out there, and talking about what video can do. I mean, talk about like the ice bucket challenge that's going on right now. Basically a viral video that started for this, to donate for this disease. And for those of you who don't know, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, it's a terrible, terrible thing. But this ice bucket challenge that has gone viral, all about, if you haven't done it yet, either you have no friends or nobody cares about you.
It's one or the other.
It's one or the other.
It's the biggest thing I've seen in a while.
It is, and it's just a video. It's just a video of you pouring ice on yourself, and just the funniness and the comments and the challenging people through video. It's a phenomenon. It's just amazing how you can take video and you can just mold it that way. And I think that's what David was saying. And just there's a few things just looking at David's channel briefly, and he and I know each other, so we've talked about it off air and things like that. But just a few things of consistently posting teasers for their podcast show, and not just doing every other episode or whatever it is, and posting thumbnails on their videos and getting a title screen on the YouTube channel page there. There's so much more that David can be tapping into, and I'm just looking at it, and he's got such a good start going on here. So we're going to move on to question number 3, and that is, this is a good one. What is something that you wish someone had told you when you first started YouTube, or you first started making videos for YouTube?
Well, it doesn't have to be perfect. I find myself at times where I'm like, I'll do something or do a video or have a video in my head, but I'm like, I can't get it perfect. I don't have the $4,000 camera, or I don't have the best of equipment. So I'm not able to edit the way I want it, or it didn't come out how I wanted it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It eventually will you strive for perfection, obviously. But if you have an idea, put it out there, because chances are if you don't, somebody will. And you kind of want to be the first one to put a video out, whether it's trying to be funny or anything like that. You want to put it out there and not be scared to actually, I don't want to say fail, but not be scared to put out something that's not as perfect as you want it to be. Because there's a lot of people who, no matter how hard you work at it, it's not going to be up to your standard. There's no way possible. So just put it out there. Obviously, don't put out just something you didn't work at or junk, but don't be scared to put stuff out there. And that's the biggest problem that I find myself. I'll have an idea or something, and I'm like, I'll get around to it, and then I won't do it because I'm like, well, it would be better if I had this, or better if I had that, which I don't have either the financial means or the capabilities to get, whatever it is I was, referring to, but still just to do it and put it out there, because consistency, as you were saying, which is something I got to get better at, is key to YouTube. People like to see a lot of videos, this and that, and consistency with it. If they feel like you're not going to put out a video but once every 2 years or 7 months, then they're not going to really care about your channel.
Correct.
So I'd say consistency and not being scared to not be perfect is what I'd say.
I would agree with all of those things. Consistency is one of the most important things, something that I'm implementing this month and going into next month on my channel. And something I try to do is each month I try to read up and to kind of listen to the YouTube gurus and try to implement something on my channel each month that they have, said this really helps grow your channel. And something that I haven't done yet, but I've been meaning to do is implement a schedule. So I'm actually going to have certain days of the week where, my viewers know that, hey, he's going to release something today, and this is what it's going to be. And it's from what I can tell from just kind of putting it out there the past week or so, the viewers really respond to that. You get more viewers because they're actually waiting on your content. They're waiting on your video. And to be consistent on YouTube is what it is, because these people just want, they just want you there. They want your content. And like David said, don't be scared to put something out there. If you have an idea, if you think it's funny, if you think it's great, if you think people need to see it, put it out there. And you never know what may happen to it. So question number 4. Do you use anything like, this is where the techie, geeky side of me comes in. Is there any YouTube tools that you could recommend to our audience that you could not live without? So some software, hardware that you use that you just couldn't live without?
Well, I myself, as a beginner, don't have a whole lot of equipment, as compared to a lot of other people. But the things I will say that I can't live without, as of right now, I use a Mac computer. So the iMovie for me is just essential as far as the editing. And you're talking, when you say, a beginner, when it comes to technology, I am, a beginner at the umpteenth degree. But iMovie is still easy enough for somebody like me to be able to go in and put your titles, add transitions and things like that. So if I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. I can barely check my email. So that is something that is essential to use. And I actually went out, and when found out we were having a baby, I went out and bought a good camera. Not a great camera. There's obviously better ones out there. But I bought a Sony Alpha Next 5T, which is one of the mirrorless cameras. And it takes great pictures. Fantastic pictures. But another thing it does is it also does really good video. So the video quality is actually really well also. Of course, your iPhone can do great things, but it is good to have something like a camera that I can have a little more capabilities as far as zooming and things of that nature, and a little bit better audio quality. And last but not least, for myself anyways, is a tripod. A very good tripod. You don't think about it, but when you're going out somewhere to shoot, unless you have somebody with you, which a lot of my videos sometimes are done just by myself, so I need a tripod. And it also, he keeps the camera stable when you're trying to get certain shots of that nature. So a tripod, a good software system such as iMovie to edit and whatnot, and then a good camera, a decent camera anyways, is really pretty much, all you need for me anyways.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. No, I'm
What
glad
would
said
you
all
like to? What if you could? I turn the question back on you. What is essential in your situation that I could use? Now, yours is a little more technology advanced, but what is something that you couldn't live without?
Yeah, over time and the more serious I've gotten at this, there's so many things that I could recommend, and I know I've recommended stuff before like Screenflow, which is something that I could not live without, doing tutorial videos and grabbing my screen, recording my voice onto the screen. Screenflow is absolutely a necessity for me. I know it's a little money up front. It's right at $100, but I've got to have that. And then something that I know sounds crazy, but I plug it as much as I can. I do not get any sponsorship money from them. Trust me, if I did, you would hear their name a lot more. But that's Evernote. When I'm going out and doing videos, it's a process for me. I plan the idea, I write it down somewhere, then I put it into Evernote as an idea, and then I expand that. So I go into Evernote, and Evernote allows you to tag pictures, to tag audio, to tag web clips, and I'll just have one note dedicated to a video, and so I'll just put that on the screen, and I'll be able to kind of follow the script as far as what I've planned out on the video. So Evernote is free. It's web-based. You can sign up for an account, and you can just put notes on there, put down your ideas, and that's something for me, not only YouTube, but for life in general, being busy, working, and doing things like that. Put the grocery list on there. It syncs with your phone or your iPad, whatever, and it's just a fantastic tool and resource.
You hear that, Evernote? So become a sponsor, Evernote. We
If
will
you're listening,
plug you.
If you're listening, Evernote, I would love to get some of that Evernote money. No, I'm just
That
kidding.
that is very true though, because it is amazing how many times I'm at work or I'm thinking or I'm out and about, and I'm like, I have a great idea that I'm like, okay, that video would be funny. That is genius idea in my head, anyways. And I'm like, all right, when I get home, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna think about it and figure out how to do it. And then I get home and I'm like, now what was that idea again? It's totally gone. It's gone. It should never be seen again. So it is a good idea to always have something handy that you can write down, and Evernote's perfect because, like you said, you can put it in your phone, go home, open up your computer, and boom, it's right there.
Yeah, the beauty of it is it's just it syncs with your phone and everything. And if you're out somewhere at supper with the fam, you can just, oh man, I just got an idea, just put it in there, and it's just fantastic. So that would be mine. And so I'm going to ask you this next question here. It says, if you could give a piece of advice, to people who are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, you coming at it from the side of, hey, you have a podcast, you do audio content, and for me, looking at your audio content history, knowing that you've been so consistent, almost at 42, 43 episodes now, you're very consistent with that over a long amount of time. That's what you need to apply to your video side of it. So you can come at it from that side. What would you give? What kind of advice would you give to emerging YouTubers or somebody who's looking into getting into video after they've once done audio?
Well, consistency, like you said, obviously. So I'm not going to bark on that too much. You're going to look. I realized how fat I was when I started doing YouTube videos. So get in shape. That's a good thing.
Get you in the gym, right?
Buy a good fat slimming suit. No, the thing I can say or recommend or, basically talk about somebody that's starting up is there's going to be people that are not going to like what you're putting out. There's going to be people that's going to laugh at you somewhat. They're going to say it's stupid. They're not going to agree with anything you do. That's going to happen. I don't care who you are. The biggest YouTuber out there has those people. And, so you can't be afraid of what everybody else thinks. You have to do it for yourself somewhat. But, there's going to be people that are scared to go out and do it themselves. Therefore, they're going to hate on anybody who isn't scared to go out and do it. So if you have an idea or if you have a video you want to put out there, you're not going to get Charlie bit my finger numbers right off the bat.
No, you're not. That's what people think. Yeah.
But, don't let, because I get caught up in this myself. When I make a video, I'll wait about an hour and I'll go on there and it's like 2 views. And then I almost automatically get depressed. But I'm like, I can't do that. I have to do it. I have to not really worry about the numbers as much as just putting content out there. The numbers are going to come.
They will.
The more content I put out there.
They will. And it's amazing. You're exactly right on that.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody that's going to want to listen or watch what you're putting out.
Agreed.
You may not see them at first, but there's going to be someone that's, think of all the stuff that you're like, clearly nobody is into that. There's groups based on whatever you think nobody's into.
I completely agree.
There's a group of people that are into something.
I completely
agree. No matter
agree.
what it is. So don't be scared to put it out there and don't care so much what other people think.
Agreed. In the industry, in the business, we call those folks trolls. That's just what I like to call them. So
in the ghetto-ness that I'm from, we call it haters.
Haters. That's haters, trolls. They're all the same. They're all the same. No, that's fantastic. That's great. That's great advice because it can get discouraging. And a lot of times I even recommend to people when you first get started, don't even read the comments. Don't even read the comments in your videos because sometimes it'll make you lose hope in humanity and society. And it's just absolutely terrible. Some things that people put in the comments and even fantastic, warm, bubbly videos. It's just terrible. Some of the stuff that people are saying. And it's just like, man, did that really come out of somebody's mouth? And you can just imagine somebody sitting behind their computer in their mom's basement. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about what these people are saying. David's right. Go out there, put yourself out there, enjoy it, and use YouTube to grow your business or whatever your goals are. So this next question is probably the longest question, and then we'll go ahead and close out after this question. But I love this question. For me, being in it as deep and as serious as I am, I love talking about this next question, and that is, what is next for you and your YouTube channel, and second part of that question is, where do you see YouTube going as a platform in the future? So 2-part question. You can answer A first, then B.
So where do I tell me the first part again? I'm sorry.
What is next for you and your YouTube channel?
Okay. Well, the next for me is, as we discussed prior to the show starting, is to put up some cover art. That's definitely what I need as far as cover art. And I plan on going back myself and adding a lot of key phrases and keywords, because that is important. The name of the YouTube, the video that you're putting out is important, as you've told me about. So I need to go think of the names that I want to post on some of my videos, as well as come up with some cool tags. That's the immediate future. But in the immediate, as far as long term, consistency is putting out videos, and what I said as far as not caring what people think and putting out what I've, just putting content out. I want to expand putting out content, be it audio and video, of course, is what I want to put out. So I feel like video is a better way for people to connect. You can actually listen to people. I mean, obviously we're on a podcast now. So I do love podcasting. However, adding video to that is a great thing. And hopefully one day we can add video to our podcast, so you can watch the whole podcast and all the going-ons that takes place within our little studio here. So adding video to our podcast would be a big thing. Consistency as far as putting out more videos, and more, I guess you can say, detailed. I know we do the little trailer rundowns, but I'd also like to get into more detailed as that. And commercial wise, doing little commercials for our podcast. I know that sounds crazy, but a little 45-minute of some kind of funny skit that we can do, I think would be good. And that's a quick way to go viral is little skits. I mean, you see it all day on Facebook, things people do. So those are just a few of the things I'm so excited about it. I want to get started now. So all these things are shooting in my head that I want to do. So I keep adding to what it is.
Yeah, there are so many things that it's amazing. Just you talking right there, I've actually realized that there's a potential for me to actually be able to help some people, because I can just look at your channel right now and can tell you 5 things you could do, and then next week I think you would begin to see a difference even as immediate as next week. And one of those is getting channel art. And then another one of those is putting customized thumbnails that you design in Photoshop on top of your videos, because that's really going to help your videos out. And then just more kind of creative titles and tags like you already mentioned. And then going in and actually putting the links, where they need to go. So if you go to my YouTube channel, I probably go over the top, and I got links to this podcast, I got links to my personal website, to my voiceover business, everything. I mean, I link that thing up because I want my viewers to know, hey, this is how you can get in touch with Dusty. This is the tech guru is approachable. He's going to comment on his videos, he's going to respond to me, and just be interactive, because that's the kind of creator that I would want to watch, and that's the kind of creator that I want to be. So there's just a few things that I know David could do just really quickly, and it would really enhance his YouTube experience, and I believe would gain him a lot of views and subscribers, which in turn is what you want. So follow up.
That's what's great about this show is I love, like you said, I'm always on you about doing another episode, because I love the show. I mean, you had, what was it, David?
Yeah, David Cox on at the beginning.
David Cox, and then you had Mr. Bill Lampton, which, they're basically somewhat seasoned, YouTubers, which is a great thing, because that's who you want to learn from.
It is.
So I love the fact that, like on this one, we can have a beginner like myself and kind of walk us through. And I really hope that you in the future also have more like beginner type shows where you can kind of give hints, kind of like you just did.
Yeah, definitely.
To go more in depth as far as thumbnails and things like that. If you can go more in depth than that,
definitely.
I look forward to it. So I'm excited about the future episodes of just your podcast.
Yeah, and me and you both, we've talked about it before. We are both consumers. We really consume like content like this. Like you and I really love podcasts when we're either, if we're working out or if we're, riding down the road, I'll be having a podcast in my ear all the time. And it's just amazing to basically, it's radio anytime you want it about any topic. seriously any topic, and that's
It's a beautiful
that's amazing. And something that I'm actually going to do starting with this podcast, this episode here, episode 3, is I'm actually going to post this up on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to send it to my subscribers because that's something that I've learned. You don't want to kind of stray too far off, but I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to just put an overlay on top of the video. I'm going to try that. I'm going to see how that affects the numbers for the audio podcast, and then see how it affects the video. And I'll let you guys know next episode how that kind of turns out. But David, the last part of that question that I asked there is, what do you think the future of YouTube is? As we talked about it earlier, it's not going anywhere. But me being on here as long as I have, I know that it has, morphed. It has changed. There's things that are always changing. They're trying new things. They're throwing stuff on the wall. Where do you see YouTube going long term?
Well, much like podcast is kind of taking over the radio part of it, like we said, as far as, it's radio anytime you want it. I feel like YouTube could possibly be anything like, something like Netflix. You could have TV shows just on YouTube that can be continuous and things like that. So I feel like that could possibly happen, Eventually people are just going to pop on YouTube to watch videos, which, to be honest, a lot of people do. Anything they want to see, they look on YouTube. I see that being the future in that as well. And much like with podcasting, anybody can have a radio show. Basically, you call it a podcast. It's like a radio show that I host. And some would say not qualified for it. But I feel like YouTube, anybody can have a TV show if they want. And they cannot be qualified for it. So I see in the future, but it's like podcasting is, we're at the very, somewhat, some say, beginning of podcasting.
Oh, we are. This is
it's going to take off.
This is the infancy of podcasting, and then right behind that, as big as it is, and as big as video is, the big companies, the big producers and directors in Hollywood still haven't bought into the whole YouTube thing. They're starting to, but I'm telling you, just as podcasting is blowing up right now, the video stuff is going to be right there on its coattails, and it's going to be right behind it. So I'm telling you, if you want to get in, don't say, oh, it's too late. Everybody who's going to build an audience already has. That is not true. That is not the case. If you have good original content, you better start right now and put yourself out there, because you can be big just like anybody else. So, I think YouTube's going to just continue to grow.
Everybody can have their own TV show of sorts.
It's crazy.
Or a vlog, basically, or whatever you want to call it. Everybody can do whatever they want, and that's what's beautiful about it. I think it's a great thing. People can express and put things out there, and it's amazing. I do a new dad vlog that I'm starting up, basically, and it sounds crazy. I'm like, nobody wants to listen to that.
I do.
But,
I do.
Yeah, in a way, and even if people get on there and vent, it's a good way to, vent, and you feel better when you vent. Not to go into the depression thing and all that, but if you hold everything in, it's like therapy. Your therapist is a
camera.
Camera.
Yeah.
So, and who's that redheaded guy that had a TV show now? The angry redhead who was on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Now he's got his own TV show on like AMC, I think. So
it's amazing.
You never know.
The crossover is happening, and David, I can't tell you, this has actually made me, it's kind of re-energized me. I'm ready to get back consistent to doing this podcast bi-weekly now, and you've motivated me and helped me do that. This is. I realize how much I enjoy chatting with people who have like-mind interests and things like that. So right now I'm going to give you an opportunity briefly to plug what you're doing, to plug your website and your podcast, and kind of just do a shameless plug here.
Absolutely. Well, be sure to check out our podcast. You can go to iTunes and type in Inappropriate Commentary, and our podcast will pop up. You can also go to inappropriatecommentary.com. You can follow me on Twitter at D40Smith, or you can follow me on Instagram at DSmitty40. I recommend doing both because I put up some pretty awesome pictures of my little boy.
He does. He really does.
So you have no idea how cute he is. Trust me, people. It's the best looking baby I've seen.
He is good looking. Until January 1st, I would say he's at the top right now. So.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for Dusty. Lovingly says how many pictures I post, but I'm curious to see how many he pops up come January 1st.
Yes,
so.
I told David the other day, he is helping me immensely. If anybody says to me, you're putting too many photos, I'll just say, go over to David's Facebook page and see how many he's posting. So it's a new age. It's a new world. YouTube is really changing lives and just changing the way we operate and things like that. And I'm just so excited to be right in the middle of it. So excited to grow my channel and also help other people grow their channels. If you are a YouTube creator and you want to be on this show, if you want to plug your stuff, if you want to come on, answer these questions, please, please, please hit me up, email me. I'll have all the links in the description on the website. Contact me through my YouTube channel as Technology Guru 77. Would love to talk to you as creators. Would love to get on the phone with you guys or on Skype, whatever it may be, and just chat with you like David and I have today about YouTube and the future of your channel and things like that. Or if you just want some help, get in touch with me on Twitter. It's at TechGuru77 on Twitter. Let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Don't forget to subscribe to this show because it does help us out. The more viewers, the more listeners we have, the more impact we can have. And that's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher Radio. The name of the show, again, is the YouTube Creators Hub Podcast. It is the one-stop shop for all things YouTube, and we hope to have you guys listening each and every week that we release a show, and I promise you it will not be this long between shows. I looked at the history, and I believe I'm releasing one every 2 months. So I am consistent, but it's bi-monthly instead of bi-weekly, which is unfortunate because I believe the content is worth listening to, and I believe there's people out there who have their stories to tell. So, David, it has been an absolute pleasure, and something that I would like to do is get you on maybe in a few months, maybe 6 months, and see kind of where you've progressed to, kind of what you've learned and what you've done to get to where you're at 6 months from now, and just kind of an encouraging moment there. So if you would be willing to, I'd like to have you on again maybe in half a year.
Oh, I'd love it, and that gives me the fire to go and actually make something happen so I'm not embarrassed next time I come on.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks again for listening to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, hit all those like buttons that you can, and we will see you guys in the next one. Well, that is a wrap for episode 3 of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. It was so awesome having David on talking about some beginner YouTube stuff. Don't forget to like this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. Don't forget to follow this podcast if you're an aspiring YouTuber or if you're an experienced YouTuber. Just come on over and join the family. Love to have you here on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, and like I said, we'll see you in the next one.